Hey YouTube, it's your boy Danny, and
Hey guys, it's Gibbles. What's going on?
you already know who it is. It's the Yugi Mayhem Bros, and we're here with a deck profile for you. It was requested by somebody. I'm not gonna say they're a fan because I don't know if they're a fan or not, but it was requested by them. An interesting deck, 6 Samurais.
Yeah, guys. The other day we did a battle video between 6 Samurais
And Dimian.
and Dimian. So it was a fun deck that I've been running for quite a while back since we were in high school. But interesting enough, when you'll see it through the profile, I don't run. I guess you could say like traditional 6 Samurais, like the newer updated 6 Samurais. It's more back in the day, old school kind of 6 Sams.
Yeah.
So, I guess we'll just jump right into it. First, obviously, the 3 Kizons. You have to have the 3 Kizons. Pretty simple enough when you have another 6 Samurai in the field, special sub themselves out. Easy enough. Level 4. Good to go. Next, I only run 2 Kagekis. Don't run 3. I think 3's a little cloggy. For the fact that if somehow you end up only with 1 Kageki in the field, you're gonna get kind of stuck because you have the 200 attack. So the 2 in my opinion is best. Oh, and its effect really good when you summon it. Normal summon it, you get a special summon another 6 Samurai monster from your hand. So it's also really good.
So it's good for comboing off with this next
With this next one, which is Kagemusha, which is our tuner for the deck. So you go Kageki, you go into Kagemusha, and you can synchro into Shion, or you can actually go into you can link them off to go into Isold, so which is really good. 2 other cards that I play, which people might not play, which is fine by me. I play 2 Elder. I don't play 1. I don't play 3. I play 2 because a lot of the times, if you get caught going second, you're gonna need that extra summon to get yourself going. So Elder gets a special summon itself as long as your opponent has a monster in the field. So I feel like that extra summon is very useful, either early game or late game. It could actually really help you out, and it's a level 3, just like Kageki. So if you find yourself with just an Elder and a Kagemusha at the beginning game, you can also go into Shion or into Beast or Isold, or next we can have the 1-ofs. I play the one Yinshi, obviously level 4. Love its effect. You can just banish 2 from the graveyard, and then send 1 back. Send one of your opponent's monsters back to the hand, and they can actually happen on their turn. So it really helps to like disrupt their plays and whatnot. So 1 of him. Then I play 1 Zanji. I play Zanji for 2 reasons. One, for the fact that it's I guess you could say fodder for like asceticism, where you can actually summon him out if you have a Kizon on the field, or vice versa. And then 2, its battle effect's actually really good when it battles opponent's monster before battle damage, battle calculation. You, no matter what, you destroy the opponent's monster. So that's also really good. Next, the 1 Aru. And I don't really run them for its effects, its defense position effects. I run them more for the fact, like I was saying earlier, he's actually also 2 fodder for asceticism. So you can actually use him to bring out Yinshi or vice versa. So that's also really good. And then they're all level 4s. So, I mean, you can go into your XZ plays, you can go into your Link plays. So it's just easier ways, like faster ways to get your monsters onto the field. Okay, and the last 2 monsters, which have been very controversial, I guess you can say, which would be interesting. But I've always ran them since the beginning. One is going to be Shion Squire, and the other one is going to be Spirit of the 6 Samurai. And the reason, I'm going to talk about Spirit first. The reason I run Spirit is because I run what is it?
Double edge.
No. Shion's Dojo, and so if you open up with Spirit and you open up with like a Kagemusha and a Kageki, you can go into Shion, and if you have Dojo in the field, you can actually send it to grave to special summon Spirit, and it uses effect to attach to Shion to give Shion 500 more attack points. I don't know, 500 attack points isn't that much, but when the fact that if somehow your opponent's monster is able to beat over Shion, you can actually pop this instead. And then two, if Shion destroys a monster while this is attached, you get to draw a card. So always drawing that extra card is always really nice. And then I run.
It comes up a lot. Like, let me just say, it comes up so often that you guys would not believe how consistent it is that this comes out.
And you don't want to run it more. Like, you only want to run it at one because you really don't want to see it in your hand. You only want to see it in the deck. Like, you want to be able to search it off of Dojo, or even search it off of Gateway if you really have to. But you just want to see the one because you really don't want to see it in your hand. So that's why I run that. The Squire I run because one, it's a tuner, a level 1 tuner. And let me tell you guys, when you need a level 1 tuner sometimes in this deck to go into like Beast, to go into Barkion, to go it's a Mistworm, like the level 1 really helps. And two, it's an earth tuner, so with like Beast you have to have 2 earth tuners to go into. So it's really, really good in my opinion. Don't run it more than one. I only run it at 1. It shouldn't be any more than that. Okay, and that's gonna be it for the monsters. So now we're gonna move on to the spells. First off, we have 3 Smoke Signal. Easy enough. It's basically your main searcher for the deck. You're gonna search your 6 Samurai's monsters as long as they're at level 3 or lower. So really, really good. Really, really helps. Always run it at 3. Next, you run. I run the 3 Uniteds. Simple enough, it kind of speaks for itself when it's on the field. Every time you summon a 6 Samurai monster, it gains a counter. When it has 2 counters, you can send it to the grave, and you draw either 1 or 2 cards depending on what counter you have on it. Always really good when you're trying to combo off or you're trying to get something going. Really, really good. Next, we have, like I said earlier, the Dojos. I run 2 Dojos. And kind of like United, when you summon a 6 Samurai monster in the field, it gains a counter, and then you can send it to the graveyard, and for as many counters as you have, you can summon a 6 Samurai monster or a Shion effect monster, I believe.
Shion effect monster.
Yeah, Shion effect monster. Yeah, Shion 6. Yeah, onto the field with up to that many counters. So that's how I get, how I get Spirit out, how you can also get,
It's good for link plays, it's good for synchro plays, it's all around good card.
Yeah, so next, play Asceticism. Only 2 Asceticism, you don't really need more than that because there's not really a lot of targets for Asceticism that I run in the deck. And then 2, at that, when you're going through all your monsters and you're going really fast, a late game, it ends up being a dead draw because you can't, like with Kizan, you can't supposed to summon itself out using the Asceticism. So late game, it becomes dead. So 3 is real cloggy and 3 is really bad. So I think at 2, it runs really, really well. Obviously, the 1 Gateway, I mean, you play 6 Sams, you have to play Gateway. There's no reason not to play Gateway. Then I play 1 Day of Peace, especially if you're going first. The extra draw is really good, and then the battle damage doesn't really matter in the beginning, but I play the 1 Day of Peace. 1 Rhoda to get out your bigger monsters, your level 4s, to search those. 1 Dark Hole. If I had a Raigeki, it'd be Raigeki, but it's Dark Hole, so 1 Dark Hole. And then 1 Monster Reborn, just, if you somehow find yourself in a situation where you need to link with your Shion or link with like a Beast or something, Monster Reborn is real good about getting it back, so you can keep going. So That's really good. And that was it for the spells. Now we'll do the traps. I run 3 double edge. The reason I run 3, which I think you have to run 3 in the deck, because you're going so fast and trying to get everything out and trying to combo off, you're gonna have monsters piled up in your graveyard. So the fact that you can actually special summon 2 of them out using double edge, I think is really, really good and really, really important, especially late game. So like, let's say you end up with an Isolde on the field and you can combo, you can go off and get a Shion, and then you flip over the double edge, and boom, by the time you know it, you have 2 Shions on the field, or like a Shion and a Beast along with Isolde. So really, really works, really, really good. I would run it at 3. Then I have just a very little like solemn brigade, I guess you can say. So you can run the 1 warning and the 1 judgment, not judgment, solemn strike, sorry. So I would play a 2nd strike if anything, but the way I have it now is I run it that way. Then I play 2 bottomless. It's up to you guys, really. Like in my build, it's kind of trap heavy, and I'm trying to work on not having it so trap heavy. But I have it because if somehow your opponent ends up getting over your board, then you have a little way to get rid of some of their monsters, so that way you can have time to build up more resources to keep going off. So I run a lot of traps to help with that, and bottomless helps.
I know Gibbles probably doesn't want to hear it, but it is a type of protect the tower deck.
Yeah.
It really is.
Pretty much, yeah. Once you get Shion on the field, you want to sit there and protect it as much as you can and help support it. And talking about that, we'll go into... then I run Mirror Forces. I run 2 Drowning Mirror Forces, 1 regular Mirror Force, and then 1 Quaking Mirror Force. Because you never know. Something might happen. You might end up with no monsters. So having a Mirror Force is always really, really helpful and really good. And 2, it helps having, I guess in my opinion, it helps having a lot of traps. Especially if you're going to be running double edge. Because if you run just double edge as your trap, then your opponent knows it's going to be double edge, so then they're going to try to find a way to get rid of it. Whereas if you play like the Mirror Forces and you play the bottomless, your opponent doesn't really know what it is or what's going on, so they might pop something that you wanted them to pop, and then you can still end up with like a double edge or even a Mirror Force or something. Makes sense. So. And that is the main deck. I believe it's 40 cards. And it will go on
41 with the 1 day apiece.
For 1 day apiece, yeah. So now we're going to the extra deck. Extra deck's pretty simple. I mean, with 6 items, you can kind of, I guess you can maneuver it around because there's so many like level 4s that you can run, or like links, or like XZs and things like that. So first off, obviously you run the Shion. I only run 2. I haven't really had a need to run 3. I know it's at 3, but haven't had a need to do it. There's really no need to do it, but run the 2. Then I run the 1 Beast, and then the 1 Barkion, just in case. Beast is the one that gets rid of spells. Barkion gets rid of traps. Really, really good. So I would run 1 of each. Then the last 2 synchros I run would be Scarlight and then Mistworm. And I know Danny can attest to this. Mistworm has actually come up really clutch, like late game sometimes, because you can just start sending monsters back, or just sending cards back to your opponent's hand.
It's like he's had times to go into Trishula, and there was a time when he was playing Trishula and Mistworm, but he would still choose to go into Mistworm, and it was just devastating. Like it's just such an OP card. Like, if you can summon it, good. If you can't summon it, bad. Whatever. Yeah. Just get it out how you can.
Yeah. And, guys, Mistworm is a level 9. So, this is why another reason why I run Squire is because if you have, like, the 2 level 4s, like a Keyzon, like 2 Keyzons on the field, Kagemusha is a level 2, so you wouldn't be able to use Mistworm. that's another reason why I run Squire, so that way I'm able to go into Mistworm, and I'm able to do that. So that was it for the Synchros. Now we're going to the XZs. There's not too many. I won one Dark Rebellion XZ Dragon, which does come in clutch pretty often. One 101. I mean, it's standard. You have to run it. Then I run Utopia and Utopia the Lightning. I mean, pretty common, simple stuff.
Common, yeah.
So
not much to explain.
no, and now going on to the links. The one I run one Isolde. In my opinion, guys, I was talking to Danny earlier. I think in this deck, for what we're trying to do, I think running Isolde at 2 wouldn't be that bad of an idea, because Isolde doesn't really have a big way to protect herself. So like if you lose her, I mean, you kind of shoot yourself in the foot. But that's just my opinion. Like I would run it at 2, but right now it's at 1. Then one Linkuriboh, one Deco Talker, one Borreload, and then one Nightmare Cerberus. So and I don't really run the Phoenix. I don't run the Phoenix because Shion's my way to get rid of spells or traps. I don't know if Phoenix would help, but that's just the way I run it. And then with what is Unicorn? I didn't run Unicorn because I have so many ways to, I guess, kind of not necessarily get rid of monsters, but to prevent my opponent from like going all out. That I felt like if I ran Unicorn, then it was just gonna, in my opinion, like not be as useful. So that's why I left it out, and I use Cerberus for the fact that he can send one special summon monster back. So I think that works.
So yeah, so there we have it. 6 Samurai deck. Like, comment, and subscribe. Get at us. Get at your boys. Let us know how we did. Let us know what you think. If you liked it, you know, good. If you didn't like it, who cares?
Yeah, like I was saying, guys, like I don't run any of the newer stuff. Like even Red and Blue, the twins, like I don't run those guys. I haven't really been fond of those. All the stuff that came out in Spirit Warriors, was never fond of that either. So I like playing straight up old 6 Samurais, Swarm the Field, get Shion out, things like that. And the deck actually still works really well even in this format. It's not as fast as it used to be, but guys, it still works nonetheless.
Yeah,
and it still competes pretty good.
Especially with the new Link coming out. I can't. The General of the 6 Samurai.
Something like that.
The one that lets you search Gateway. That's gonna be a hell of a card, and get your 6 Samurais, get your Keysons while you can, because they're gonna go up in price.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, Gibbles, any closing thoughts?
No, that's about it. Yeah, guys, just let us know in the comments any suggestions or, you know, your opinions on certain things. Because I know, like I said, my deck's a little, I guess you could say, on the, not necessarily controversial, but...
Yeah, I would say on the controversial side.
Yeah, and so I don't run usual things, but that's just me.
So catch us on turn 2, and stay fresh, y'all.